Exactly 1 year ago today, a whole year since I released into the world my first book, Take the Effing Looking Cap Off. Um, it was not even through caffeinated eyeballs. I was absolutely just like, okay, let's just release it quietly and see what happens. But honestly, it's changed everything. For me, a lot of you have reached out after reading it, and maybe, just maybe, we're starting to think about photography as a community differently. We're starting to recognize that not everything is what it's presented at. But today isn't about nostalgia or self-congratulations. It's actually a bit of a reality check, and the celebration kind of rolled into one because I'm still here. I'm still very loud. This actually was the whole reason why this podcast even exists. So if you love this podcast, please click follow, subscribe, whatever it is, because I love those numbers going up. And I tell you what, I'm not going effing anywhere. I'm not. This episode is why I wrote the book, which but more about why it pissed some people off, and why it was good, and what's next, because I'm not done and you're not done, not even by a long shot, which is very cliche to say, but I mean it. So let's rewind. When I wrote Take the Effing Lens Cap Off, it wasn't from some fancy cabin in the woods, sipping a flat white, feeling all enlightened and being like, oh my God, I'm a bougie babe, watch me. It wasn't. I was sat in Northampton on a really rainy day. And in fact, I was really angry. I was really angry. I was kind of done. I'd been in a group, in a chat discussion, and people were being quite twatty to each other. They were doing it in this like closed kind of way, like with fake positivity. And it just started to anger me. And I just said to somebody, I just said in the group, you're being a bit of a dick. You need to check yourself. Like, they were being quite rude, and no one wanted to tell them because apparently they've got some clout. I don't give a shit. You were being rude, you're being rude. And then suddenly people were privately messaging me after I said that. Oh, you shouldn't have said that, but I totally agree with you. And I'm like, but you're on here like licking their ass, like publicly, but privately you're messaging me. And what I realized was there is a lot of fake positivity in photography. Not like to the point where we all need to quit and like worry about everybody, but there is a lot. Okay. It's not entirely it, but there is a lot. And I got done with watching photographers tear people down, upset people, and just get away with it. But also, I got done with people just allowing it to happen and becoming like a yes crowd. Like, just because somebody puts something out or does something, we don't all just go yes because somehow they won an award and we all kind of bask in their glory. Um, it just kind of, and also the gatekeeping, the utter gatekeeping. Like, if it's a public space, why are we worried? Like, I literally went to the pumpkin field, right, this weekend. Okay. And I advertised that I'm the photographer down at the pumpkin field. And lo and behold, another photographer in the area walks in with her bookings. And I was like, whoa, man, more people here. One, I love Harry, Caroline, Daisy, everybody at the farm, Tom, everybody. I love them. And the more money they get in, the more photos they have taken place, the better for them, right? I didn't get shitty about it. I don't care. I advertise. I don't own that space. I didn't get worried. I tag that place in. I know people reach out. I mean, I do get annoyed when photographers show up, claim to the farmers that, no, we're just friends, and then do a full professional shoot and then whack it on their Facebook and get more bookings. I think that's shitty of you to do. And I'm particularly looking at you, photographer, who I confronted because you were not happy that you were told to pay the fee to come in. But okay, let's carry on before I go down that rabbit hole. Um, the thing is, this book I wrote was not about as much about photography. It's more about action within photography. How people say they want to build a business or say they want to chase a dream, but they don't even take the damn lens cap off. I know it sounds really silly, but people sit there and procrastinate so freaking much. And I was just like, just take the lens cap off. And they're like, oh, I didn't want to shoot. I don't know. Your face, dog shit, whatever. Take the lens. You can't be better at photography if you don't take photos. Like, it's so obvious, right? If you want to be better, do it. If you want to improve, keep doing it. You want to make a business out of it, get it so good that people want you to do it. Yeah, like I just didn't understand. And I feel like there was a lot of books out there that were like, tell me a why. And oh my God, let's all get together and just discuss our why. I'm like, just do it. I wanted to have a more action book than a thoughts and feeling book. I don't know how else to describe that. I respond better to that. I'm not saying those are terrible. People respond to them. That's why they sell so well. But I needed something that was concise and blunt. And I know people were like, oh my God, I got one review that said, oh, it's a really short book. I'm less impressed with that. I'm like, it literally says it everywhere that it's a short book. It's deliberately a short book. There's no photos in it. It's not about my photography. And I even cover that in the intro. It's a short book for a reason because there's no waffle in it. It's just what you need to know. I didn't understand why and I was annoyed that this person hadn't even read the review, but welcome to the world of the world where people just decide to, yeah, whatever. The book was also my middle finger to hesitation, like a call to arms. Every photographer sitting there thinking, I'm not ready, they're not talented enough, they're not popular enough, not whatever the fuck they're not on of. And do you know what? Because I have absolutely been there. And I'll tell you, waiting for validation will kill you faster than any other thing that an algorithm can do to you, honestly. So when I wrote that book, I sat here first of all, I started writing the book in Oslo. My beautiful friend Rebecca, aka Novelty Star, is an amazing makeup artist in Oslo. I had been visiting her and I was doing some photo shoots and I sat there and I didn't want to come home. There's something about me being in Oslo. It's like my soul city. I think it's helped the fact that my friends are absolutely incredible there. I have such a good time. I didn't want to come home because the UK to me just felt bitter. I know it sounds really weird, but I was so happy. Here I am in Oslo working. Here I am doing my thing. And I'm going to go back to the UK. And I love my clients. But this is not about my clients. This is about just the whole atmosphere in the UK. I think because it's maybe a smaller country, a group of countries. Technically, United Kingdom is United Countries. Um, it has this weird vibe about it at times. And everyone's just like trying to make a buck out of people and selling the bare minimum. Okay. So like I was constantly being inundated with people saying, I could boost your SEO or come and join my marketing group. And it's like, and there was people just selling shit to me. And I have a social media analytical background. I was checking their social media before I went on anything, and theirs was shit. I'm like, why am I going to? And yet they were being lauded up. I was fed up of seeing, so-called photography platform, whatever's, boosting people, going, oh, we're going to talk about marketing today. And I'd be like, okay, I'd log in and listen. And they were just talking about bollocks that I could churn out in 2 seconds. They weren't actually giving me any insight. It was just like, you need to be present. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, you need to show your face. Okay, give me some ideas. No, none of that. The whole idea of helping people is to help people. And it just felt like giving the bare minimum. This was like giving you the crust of the bread, but not the rest of the bread. Like it was just shit. And I was done. So I started writing that book. I remember exactly where I was. I was looking, there's a bench seating. If you ever go to Oslo, there's a bench seating in the harbour. And over on the left is the Oslo Opera House, which is incredible. I highly recommend you climb up to the top of that in the sunrise time and see it's stunning, even in winter. It's just amazing up there. And then to my far right was it was a seagull giving me the side eye and some people enjoying the saunas. And I sat on my laptop and I was just editing and I went, you know what I'm going to write? I started writing stuff. And the first thing I wrote was the intro. And the intro was to myself. It was what I needed to hear, okay? I wrote the book because I needed it to be the voice I wanted to hear more of. Not necessarily one that sugarcoated shit. It wasn't one that could make a success sound like some filter perfect fairy tale. One that said you can be terrified and still fucking do it anyway, okay? That's why I started writing that book. Now, I'm going to tell you now. When I announced I was writing this book, lots of my friends were really excited for me. They were really happy. But I got a few shitty comments. There were some naysayers, the ones who told me I couldn't do it. Who the hell are you to write a book? Like, come on, you're a nobody. No one's going to like what you do, Khandie. You're far too blunt. You're too sweary. Photographers don't want to be shouted at. Guess what? They're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. You lot, my loud lens community. The reason why this even podcast exists, the reason why my YouTube has pivoted, the reason why I wrote the second book, you guys, you understood that being blunt wasn't being cruel. It was about being so real. We work in business. Time is precious. In business, time costs us money. So I needed a book that did not take up lots of your time. And in fact, let me just grab a copy of my book because I think it says in the last page, if I remember correctly, because I've written a book since then and it's been a whole year. Okay. In my book, I'm going now. Let me go flick to the page. Please donate this book to another person or a charity shop. You don't need it anymore. I don't want you to keep holding this book. I mean, you can. In fact, it says, in fact, I've just lied. So it says, that is the last line, but the one before says, now stop reading and go take some fucking photos. Like I wanted you to have that. I wanted it to be blunt, but not cruel. I wanted it to give you the kick up the ass you needed. And you guys just, it went to Japan. People in Japan were buying, in America, Canada, Australia. It was being booked and bought, and people were posting pictures. I remember being at the photo show and people were bringing it out to me to sign. I mean, who am I to sign books, right? And everyone loved, and I said to them, scrunch it up, chuck it in your back pocket. It wasn't allowed to be more expensive than some of the magazines. It had to be just who it was, okay? I'll be honest though, not everyone was cheering. There were people who cheered, oh, it's far too aggressive. People don't like being spoken about. It's not very professional. And do you know what's funny? They are the same people now who are literally posting about authenticity like it's their brand. My authentic self is who you hear in this book and my other books and who you hear on this podcast. Do not talk about being authentic if you're then telling me that I'm too much. I am not too much. You are too little and have less space for me to take up. That's how I just see it now. I'm changing the mindset. And you know what? You can't make this shit up. I saw a space, I took it. Why do I have to apologize for doing that? And neither do you, okay? You don't have to do it. When you step into who you are without apologizing, and I know it sounds like really wishy-washy, so forgive me. When you actually behave exactly as who you are, you feel better. You feel less exhausted because you're not having to create a persona. You are just being you, okay? You stop apologizing from it. People who benefited from you being quiet and in this little corner won't like it, and that's okay. They are not your people. That's fine. That's a sign you're actually doing something right for yourself and right for your business. Because when you stop standing out, they get to have the cream of the crop, or they get to get the bookings. When you start standing out, you're now competition and they don't like it, and now they know that they should have stepped up quicker than you did. I wrote this book to wake people up, and some folks didn't like me waking up, and that's okay because that book is not for them. And the worst bit is a lot of them like to keep people down. And I'm like, done. I'm done. Do you know what's mad though? When I first published that book, I didn't think of it as a voice for others. I didn't. I thought it was like me having a bit of a rant and a bit of structure and a message. And every chapter, I say this to everybody who I chat to when they ask me, every chapter, if you ever find my notes, this book is dedicated to a conversation I have physically had with somebody. And some of them are known. I mean, my friend Steve Stricks will know there's a chapter inspired by him in there because we spoke about it. There is many chapters, okay, dedicated to people. And the people I mention in the book are real people. They're not made up. The instances are real. They're just what happened. I I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was gonna be as big as it was. I tried my hardest to self-promote it. Now, I will say, when I finished at the photo show the first time I spoke there, I was approached to consider writing a book, and a couple of publishers did reach out to me. I think it was because my seminar at the photo show was a little different from what I understand. People really stopped and really enjoyed it. I remember you can watch the video, it's on my YouTube, the first one I did. In fact, both of my chats are on there. And I was reached out to, and I was very keen at first, once I got over the initial "what me," to do it, but they wanted me to tone myself down. They wanted me to not be as grumpy or as me, less sweary, less ranty, and suddenly it didn't feel like me. It felt like HR compliant me. It felt like, I know, PTA me. It just felt like Sunday school. I don't know, it just didn't feel like me. And the whole point is they liked what I did on the stage, which is very much like I am in the book. So it didn't seem to make any sense to me to create a book that wasn't like that, yet it was inspired by that. So I declined. They also wanted to charge a lot of money for the book. They had an idea of it. I think it's one price roundabout was 12.99. And at first when I sent, I was okay with it. First of all, I sent the manuscript over to them to check, and they said, okay, it's good, but we need to fluff it out. It's too direct. We need to keep them reading, and we need to make the book at least 3 times as long. And I was like, well, I've said everything I want to say. And they went, yeah. So I decided to pull it and publish it myself. Okay. I asked a lot of friends, and I'll tell you now, I just put it on Amazon. And I know Amazon is like the beast everyone hates, but loves and still buys off quietly. The reason I did it was it's accessible. Everyone could get it. The only place I think my friends couldn't get it, ironically, was in Norway, because Norway does not have Amazon, which is where I wrote the book initially. So now you can get it through different means, but it's fine. It's all sorted. But I did that, and I remember the day I launched, I was like, oh, no one's gonna care. I did a little bit of a lead up. We went to top seller, baby. We went to top seller. I was so shocked. Every time an order comes in, I get a little ping email, and I just kept getting them. And one point I logged in, it was just email after email. I was like, oh my God, how many copies? We sold hundreds of copies. It was insane. And that was in the first couple of moments. Like a couple of times, like moments. I can't remember my exact numbers. I should have looked at them before I jumped in, but we have sold a lot. I say we because it's not just me, it's you guys sharing, it's you guys doing stuff. But I started getting messages from photographers who were told that they weren't real because they didn't shoot weddings, or mums who were told they were just hobbyists, or people that were told they were too missionary for the business, or that they didn't do this. And they just said that the book helped them. I had people who had never picked up a camera in the last 10 years because they just felt ugh, and they bought my book, or someone bought the book for them, and suddenly they were like, I'm doing it. I'm shooting dog crap, Khandie. I'm doing what you said. If you've read the book, you understand the dog crap reference. If you haven't, go read the book. You know, every single one of them were reaching out to me, and those messages meant a lot. I know it's very cliche to say that, but it meant a lot. And suddenly I realized I was no longer writing for myself. I was writing for every creative who was ever told to shut up, or felt that they had to sit down or stay small. And so the book that was Take the Lens Cap Off really gave birth to this podcast, The Loud Lens, because we needed a space where we could be loud, where we could disagree, where we could unlearn some bullshit. and I became a voice that I didn't well, I knew that I wanted this voice, but I didn't have it all figured out. I mean, what I started doing was stop questioning why people wanted to hear me. Okay, people wanna hear me. One person wants to hear me, I'm gonna keep delivering. I wasn't scared about pushing. I also started calling out bullshit that holds people back because I feel like we needed that. And I know that you can laugh and say, "Oh, but then you went on to I wrote the second book." I did write the second book, and I'm very proud of the second book, and it came out and, um no one fucking cares about your photography is a great ode to all these people that were saying, I feel like I shouldn't post. I'm not scared. I'm scared to post it on Instagram and all this stuff. And I just said, no one fucking cares about your photography. Like, no one cares. Just post it. And that book went crazy as well. I feel like, though, taking up space isn't just physically like showing up. I go to these trade shows, I go to events, and I'm stand there. I don't apologize. I changed. Like, I talked about this in a previous episode where when I first started photography, I did what everyone did, wore the wide brimmed hat. I felt like, the leather jacket, the skinny jeans. Yeah, we all sat there. And in fact, if you look back at my first promo pictures, you can see that look. And I tried desperately to fit in. And I was like, got tired and I didn't know who I was. And I tried all these trends that were in photography. And then I just said, you know what? I love color. In my personal life, my house is colorful. I'm colorful. Um, I need my life to be like that. So I changed my branding and it all just launched this massive thing. And suddenly I wasn't just Khandie. I was being invited to chat and talk and hold seminars. After go overseas to do seminars. I was something new in the salable. I don't know how else to describe it. In the, I was I don't know how else to describe it. I was something new. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna be here, be it for a short time or a long time, but I'm here and I know I'm different because people keep telling me. Um I and when the book first came out, I took up that space. I won't lie, there was a little bit of scariness because I was worried about consequences for a fleeting moment because, people can judge and I was concerned. And one of my big concerns was that no one would like my book. I mean, I like my book and I was very proud of my book, but I was worried that it wouldn't resonate, but it did. People started to see me, contact me, hear me out, and realize that they too get it. I remember a lady coming to me at the photo show, this last one, and I was on the British Institute of Professional Photographers stand. I was just doing a seminar there for them after just being on the main stage for the photo show itself. And I sat on the couch that they have. And no joke, this girl came over to me and she had my book and she handed it to me. And in it, she flicked through and there was writings all down the side. There was highlight marks throughout my book. And she asked me to sign it. And I was like, oh my God. She goes, I just love it. It just spoke to me. And I got really choked up, like, because I thought someone would like it, but to have somebody who really dissected what I said, it meant the world. I know I'm gonna be mushy about it, but like, I'm just you can't describe I'm a nobody. I don't have 1,000 I don't have like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. I don't have a massively crazy YouTube channel. I have a podcast. I have my space. And am I killing it everywhere? No, but am I doing it for me? Yes, but am I also doing it now for the people who are like me? I kind of think I am. I know one masked me. I'm just doing it because I feel like a lot of what we're surrounded by is yes people and we're all kind of sort of kind of trying to conform. I don't know if I'm probably saying it right. I hope it resonates with you. Like people preach about authenticity, but then when you're authentic to yourself, oh, that's too much. Could you hold it back? Like it doesn't make no sense to me. So if you're listening to this and and you've been keeping yourself small in whatever feeling that has, I don't know if that's the right term for it. I want you to stop it. No one's going to hand you a fucking permission slip, okay, to do what you want to do. Just go do it, okay? I mean, don't jump off a cliff or anything like that, but like go do something. If you want to like give up pet photography and do portraits. Just go do it. Go do it. Financially, make sure you're secure. There are reasons not to just go do it, but go do it. Don't do it alongside. Do it alongside until it's so good that you don't need to do the other bit. Okay. Take out the bloody room. Put yourself forward as a speaker. Be inconvenient. Be visible. Be loud. Because the world doesn't change at all when you whisper. I mean, one of my favorite people in the world is Mae West. Right? Well-behaved women seldom make history. Because if I had towed the line, I wouldn't have had the podcast. I certainly wouldn't have written the books. And I certainly wouldn't be doing what I love more now. I'm more in love with my career and photography now than I have been at any point. And I have done many varied careers. As you know, I was a burlesque performer. I was in the movies. I was in the military, RAF, technically, so it's not really the military. No jokes, guys. I'm just joking. If you know about the military joke, you know. What is it? The army bed in the what was it? The army sleep under stars, the navy navigate by them, and the RAF book their hotels by them. Joke. I get it. Okay. But I wanted more, and I knew I needed more, and I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't until I wrote the first book, it just kept coming out of me that every chapter, I wrote a chapter constructor. Like I wanted to write it well. I didn't want it to be waffle, but it just kept happening, kept happening. And then before I knew it, I was done, and I was like, wow, I have this manuscript. And I was like, oh my God, I need to send it off to get it proofread. And the guy who was proofreading it said to me, it's really good. It's really concise. I was like, yeah, let me just confirm. Let me just go here. The first book is 51 page long. That's not a lot, right? It is not a lot. And I know it's not. But you know what? I'm going to read the thing about why I did this, okay? If you haven't got this book, it's fine. I'm not going to read the whole intro, but I'm going to read the dedication, right? Don't buy if swearing is not your thing. I don't fucking care though. Dedicate it to myself because I think I'm pretty cool enough to do that. Cheers me from me. Because I got here because of me. I chose to pick up a camera. I chose to create the business name. I chose to start taking photos. I did this. I was at the time when I was starting being a photographer, like I was already taking photos, but when I truly took the leap, I had a really high paying job in marketing. I had a really high paying job on the side of marketing, and I was also doing some other work, and I was a performer, and I was doing really well, but I was very unfulfilled in other places. I love being a performer. I love being on stage. I love entertaining. So this kind of just sat really well. Things have changed. Uh, Writing that book opened doors. And sure, it slammed a few, but fuck, I'm not knocking on their door. If you don't like me, fine. Don't care. Does it make some people uncomfortable? I'm sure it does. Does it make people curious about me? I'm sure it does. Has it got me slagged off for writing it? Yes, I got forwarded that WhatsApp chain of messages from people, and it's really weird who was chiming in on it. Have I kept it? Yeah, I have. It's definitely made me more certain of who I am in this industry, my views on this industry, and where I stand. And since then, I have launched you guys, this Loud Lens. I have mentored photographers, spoken on stage, and said no to people I once would have bent over backwards to please. I have made friends with people I never knew would be friends. I have tried to be as authentically me as fucking possible because I don't want to be a yes girl. Like, oh my God, thoughts and prayers, babes. I'm going to show up with cookies if you're sick. I am going to send you a cactus when you feel miserable and you're being a twat because you're a prickly bit. I am going to get you coffee because I see you're working hard. I'm going to bring you Cadbury's cream mix. I know you love them because you're my friend and I want you to be happy. I'm going to do it. I'm not people pleasing. I'm just doing what friends would do. I'm not in it because you're a somebody and a famous somebody in the circuit. I'm doing it because authentic me just wants to be your mate. I'm not here to pillage and take over your audiences. I'm just here to offer what I can offer because that's growth. That's what happens when you stop chasing approval and start chasing your own self. Like you start believing in your own authenticity. And the biggest shift, I stopped waiting to be invited to a fucking table I'd no interest of being at. I built my own table and people came and sat with me. So when I'm saying to you, I'm not going anywhere, I mean it because I have literally just started. Okay. I want to be so honest with you for a second. Fear, and particularly for me, has never gone away. You will never reach some magical point where you just feel ready. People who succeed are not fearless. They're just too fucking stubborn to give up. Okay? You don't silence fear by pretending it's not there. You silence it by doing the damn thing anyway. I'm scared. I'm gonna do it. Okay. That's what Take the Fucking Lens Cap was about. Not pretending you're brave, but pretending no more. It's saying I'm brave even though I'm shitting myself, right? So if you're sitting here waiting for the perfect time to do something, newsflash, it will never happen because perfection is a myth that humans invented. It is a way to keep you still, small, and not doing something. So take the fucking lens cap off, literally, metaphorically, spiritually, whatever it is, and stop hiding behind some excuses. So today, I want to celebrate not just the book, but the movement it started. To everyone who's read it, shared it, quoted it, sworn it, and if you've not yet read it, I will put the link in the description of the show. Thank you. You have made it live beyond me. Why am I getting emotional? I think it's because personally, I'm going to just speak. I've had a bit of loss in my personal life at the minute, and one of my friends, when she was passing away, said to me, "I hope I've left some good memories for you all." And I was like, "Babe, you and me dancing on the table in London, always iconic." I don't say I'm going anywhere, but I hope in time, maybe do you know I have a wiki page about me? I don't even know who made it. Maybe I'll get on there, or maybe I'll do something and I'll leave something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe when I cark it, someone goes, "Remember Khandie?" Oh my God, what a dick. Maybe someone will say that and I'll be happy. To the naysayers too, thank you. You reminded me that shaking that table means the right people were finally listening. And in fact, I gave an ode to you in my book, in my second book. So if you are at all interested, buy the second book 'cause it's a nice little ode to those fuckers in there. This is not the end of the conversation by any means. This is a continuation. You guys listening to this podcast, if you haven't already subscribed, go do it. If you're on my Instagram, go subscribe to me, follow me. Find me on YouTube, find me on LinkedIn, find me Facebook. I love talking to you. This industry still needs shaking. It still needs honesty. It still needs voices that aren't afraid to say this isn't good enough. So consider this episode my official announcement. I'm doubling down, more truth, more chaos, more uncomfortable, but necessary conversations, because that's what means more to me. More of us, more people like me, more of us. Okay. So look, this last year has been wild and I have faced my own doubts. I have been through moments where my personal life has hurt me. I have had my own imposter syndrome moment. I even had my own burnout near enough. Nearly, I caught it just in time. You might have seen that on my YouTube. But I've also seen what happens when you stand up for yourself and speak loudly. You attract the people who get it, you repel the ones that never did, and there's a win every single time. Sometimes it's a small win and sometimes it's hidden and you have to look a bit harder, but it's a win. So if you take anything from this episode or my book or my second book or my YouTube or my Instagram or anything, let it be this. Please do not wait for perfection. Do not wait for permission. Please be loud, be messy, be bold, take up space, because no one's coming to rescue your dream. It is your dream to have and your dream to save. So you need to get back up, grab your camera, take the fucking lens cap off, all right? Because this has been the Loud Lens, and I hope I keep doing these podcasts. I am Khandie Rees, proud as fuck. 1 year later, still unfiltered, still unapologetic, still swearing, sorry, mum, and still not going anywhere. See you next time. And don't forget, if anyone tells you you're too loud, tell them to turn their own volume up. Because, honey, you would only be speaking loud because they're speaking too small. Okay? Okay, take care. I'm going to go now. I feel very buzzy. I'm so proud of myself.